I'm just this little tiny guy up in the corner in this video.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I'll see what I could do. I mean, that's the downside of doing something like this on FaceTime. But
Okay.
Zoom, obviously, as we know, it's even. But I'm not going to worry about it. Who cares? I
Well, next
mean,
time we do something, let's definitely do Zoom or however you want to do it, like a.
so Chris,
Yes, sir.
did you watch any trailers that came to your phone, your smart device here recently? Is that what it is today? Our smart devices?
Not until my phone and email started blowing up last night about 9:45. I thought the second coming was happening because it was buzzing, 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 and then I kept getting notifications. My messenger was going off, and I finally just clicked on YouTube, and there it was, released.
Yeah, I was getting from Twitter because I actually use this is my phone that I use most of the time. Now I look like a fancy Kardashian, and this is my other phone that I use as my little mini because well, anyways, I was getting these notifications on there about something with Twitter, like follow Halloween movies or whatever the hell to get notified. And I'm like, what the hell? Maybe it'll notify me when the trailer comes out. And I didn't think anything of it. So I woke up this morning, and there was all these Twitter notifications that I don't normally see. And sure enough, I was like, I wonder if this is a trailer that we've already seen. Or then I seen this poster image from Nick Castle on Twitter. And I'm like, Nick Castle wouldn't just post a fan-made poster unless it was a friend or a relative.
It was this time yesterday. I had seen where somebody had published 5 images or 7 images, but I was like, I don't care about seeing images. I just don't want to see video if they're not going to release it until July 1st.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were irate. Apparently, some AMC employee that leaked some images from the trailer, and people were going crazy. Because we're Halloween purists, and we take that stuff seriously, like any genre, Star Wars. But
let's just start drinking when that happens.
Yeah. So went to a couple of live feeds, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, whoever this person was that leaked this image looks like they've just forced the hand of Blumhouse, Universal, whoever, to go ahead and just put the trailer out a week early. So that's a good and a bad thing. I mean, I'm not ready for the trailer, but what scares me about not so much Blumhouse, I don't think Blumhouse makes trailers. They have a company that does it. About showing too much. I don't want to say too much.
And of course, it's Blumhouse and Universal. Yeah, Universal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because it's like trying to keep up with the Kardashians is more of a subject for me. No, I'm just kidding. I honestly, that's news to me. I didn't hear about that. How obviously a feeding trend of what had happened, what you just described with the movie theater.
Yeah. Well, even if we've been waiting for a trailer for 2 years now, even when they pushed the movie back. So I think even if they said we were going to do a trailer in April, I don't think anybody would have been upset. But when they say a trailer might come July 1st, and all of a sudden you got to scramble, kind of like I forget the movie. It was like, I think it was Naked Gun or something, where some big break came out and all those reporters ran into the same telephone booth and the booth flipped over.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. So it was like pure chaos between, I would say 9:45 last night up until when I woke up this morning and saw a post from James Courtney saying, here it is.
I don't really get on Twitter a lot because I think Twitter is more for celebrities. But every once in a while, if there's a certain individual that you're really curious to find or to keep track of, or not necessarily stalk, but like Nick Castle, for example. I've always kind of kept my eye on Nick Castle there. Every day he was posting one of his ball caps or a hat that he has on his mask.
We have got a winner. Actually, we have 2 winners in the shape hat contest. So this is getting exciting. We have Bone Slayer Sonny, and we have Annabelle Hernandez. Now, Bone Slayer has already sent me his address. I'm going to send him a hat, a signed hat. And Annabelle needs to send me her address. Come on, Annabelle, get it together. You're going to get it. And Bone Slayer, I have to send it to Australia? Jeez. Well, listen, a deal's a deal. I'll get it out to you real soon. Bye-bye, you guys.
We're out of the mess, more or less.
Yeah.
And I believe I told you over the phone recently, every Halloween film that's been released from 78 up till, 2021, I have watched those films in the movie theater. Every time, like this one, if it wasn't going to be released in the movie theater and I'd have to see it at home for the first time, there's a first for everything, but no, I want to go to the movie theaters and watch that on the big screen, sitting next to my son, eating my popcorn and treating myself to a cherry Coke and just go, "Ooh, this is good." I hope.
It's not only that. It's in this franchise, when you go to a theater, you have a lot of cosplayers, and it's welcomed to have 4 or 5 or 6 guys dressed up as Myers in the theater, and the theater staff they welcome it. So it's kind of nice to walk in there and just see people dressed up in the costume when you're going to a movie, and then having them walking up and down the aisles. And I'm like, you don't really get that with any other movie. I've never seen that happen with a Jason movie. Definitely haven't seen it with a Freddy movie. But it seems the last few times I went to a Halloween movie, especially for both times that I saw Halloween 2018 in the theater, they had cosplayers, and it was amazing. It was just fun. They added to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, now that you bring that up, when Halloween 2 came out, I remember, because the first one, this is the first time you don't know what the hell's going on. It's not like I went to go see it when it was released, but it was fairly new, and I didn't really know. I'm 8 years old. Like, I know so much as an 18-year-old, although I probably was smarter when I was 8. But I just remember, when they did release Halloween 2, there was somebody dressed up as Michael Myers, and it scared the hell out of me. And I was barely 10 years old at the time, I guess. I don't know, but it scared the hell out of me. Too bad. I hope kids get to experience that. Not being scared.
If I had seen that, my first question would be, where did you get your mask? Because I didn't get my first one until 1986. Yeah.
Mine was, I can't remember. I know, like most of us, probably, maybe not so much today, but I want to say at least 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Most of us were always like, man, where the hell do you get this at? Or as soon as it was there, you try to go there to find it. In other words, before the internet, before our social media. Yeah, it was oh my God, it was so difficult to find a decent one. And if you weren't into the know of all the details, it was even more of a challenge, But
I bought the same Don Post mask, I think, 5 or 6 times, because after about 2 or 3 years, they would just melt. You pick it up and it would just stick to your hands.
Yeah.
They were just, it was sad. I threw, they use that cheap latex. It wasn't Permatex, otherwise it were vinyl, which would have been nice. But
it was pretty cheap.
Yeah, and I had to throw them all away. Even this one last Kirk I got that I bought at Spirit. It was the big one, like for the 26-inch domes.
Oh, like the 78? I don't know if you can see it. Yeah.
I went to pick it up about 2 years ago, and when I picked it up, it was just cracking.
What is today's date, by the way?
25th, June 25.
So this latest trailer, official trailer from Universal Blumhouse, was released, the past 24 hours, I guess? Or maybe longer?
Not even, like 15 hours ago.
Okay. Well, I'm going to allow you to take over the microphone, sir.
Well, I won't say I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. We all enjoyed it. It was just the leading up to it and why they felt they had to push it out early. I will say that my opinion, of course, don't mean anything. The trailer on this one, I don't think it gave away as many surprises as the first one. My biggest thing about the first one was the closet scene. Why did we need to see that? I don't want to see surprise moments. I will say that I won't go from start to finish, but just my overview. I think in this one, I think I'm going to like the sheriff a little bit more than I did in the first one. I really wasn't a fan of his. I never understood why his deputy who'd been on the force for 40 years was not the sheriff. And then as far as the fireman scene, I think they showed too much of the fireman scene because after watching this trailer just twice, I pretty much figured out how. Bless you, baby. It's my daughter. I kind of figured out.
Does she have a cold or is there sinuses? I'm sorry.
You're good. You can edit, right?
Does she have a cold or sinuses or?
Just allergies. You can edit that out, right?
It's okay. No, it's real world. I would think most of us on here have kids, or they're going to have kids. So.
Paige loves the Halloween atmosphere. She's been subjected to it all her life. I think the only issue I have is the fireman scene. I think we saw the whole scene because I can piece together just by after only watching it twice and just kind of I didn't pause it or anything like that. I just was watching on my phone. So I'm like, well, okay, a fireman falls in the hole, and then you have the fireman lean over the hole and reach his hand down, and then of course we assume it's Michael reaching up. Well, then they show another scene of a fireman getting fucked. Okay, well,
audio.
Oh.
Can't see it. It's what you're talking about. That might be too loud.
I kind of like the scene where he walked out the front door and then he had an audience, and we're like, technically all these guys could take him. I mean, of course, they got the heavy gear on. I got two brother-in-laws that are firemen. It's kind of hard to possibly fight in all that heavy gear, so he definitely has the advantage with him having the pickaxe. I thought the house being on fire was kind of cool, even though I know for a fact that's not the same. I don't think it's the same one from the first movie because there's a YouTuber that goes by the name of Grimlight Collector.
Yes, and his name's Michael, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. I've watched that video
recently, and they show that house with the burn marks that they used for the first movie. But the house still stands, so that's another house they built. Thank God. I just think for that house to catch on fire, for them to get out of there in the truck, I thought more damage would have been done to the house because that was an old wooden house. But Hollywood magic. But I think they just showed too much of the fireman scene. I would have been better off knowing he didn't kill them all, especially when the sheriff and the police were walking around all the dead bodies. I'm like, didn't need to show that. And then, of course, the hospital scenes didn't really give away too much. I don't think. I mean, I've only watched it, a couple of times, but I didn't get anything out of the hospital scene that was a dead giveaway. I thought it was interesting that you got the town revolt, like Halloween 4, where they all, want to form a mob posse and go after him. If that's what they're doing, I'm guessing they are.
It almost seems like a riot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and they were shaking the bus or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, what were some things I just thought was a little bit too much? Of course, I know with trailers they gotta do 2.5 minutes, so you're gonna get, a lot of activity. Well, Blumhouse is known for doing that with their trailers. And of course, this is all my opinion. Somebody get on here and say something different, that's fine.
We all have to respect everybody's opinion. I mean, you have a right to your own opinion, your own thoughts. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what people have to remember, I think most of us realize that, though,
And you can kind of piece together, like, the scene where, they're in the hallway and he's got the knife to her face, and then right before they take the camera off him, you see him lunge, like he was attacked from behind, which would make sense that her mom showed up to save the day, and maybe that's how she got the mask on the front door or whatever. I mean, they're just things that I would have just cropped, because if you go back and watch it, you see him kind of like either spill forward or get hit from behind, like he was being attacked. Because obviously he's got the knife to her face. She's not going to win without some help. It was good to see Lonnie, the kid Elam. Lonnie Elam's son, I forget his name. It was good to see him back in the movie because he kind of disappeared in the first one after the cops got him. Other takeaways, I would say the soundtrack. I wasn't expecting the soundtrack to change as much as it did. And I want to say, I don't know, Kyle Richards. I saw her in that scene where she, had the hand to her neck, and it was interesting to see the Halloween 3 pumpkins used again in that trailer, which I probably would have left out. Maybe show one, but and of course I'll probably get a lot of hate for this, but I'm trying to accept Anthony Michael Hall as Tommy Wallace. I know he's a great actor. He's been great. He's Breakfast Club all the way up until he's done a lot.
I still Weird Science. Still love him in that.
I was really hoping. I'm on the train of everybody in the Halloween franchise is flourishing. That's still alive, except for one, and that is the original with Tommy. And I think if they could have gotten to him, rehabilitated him, sent him to some acting lessons, this could have been the thing that saved him, because we all know who are purists. He's struggling. I mean, he really is struggling.
Yeah.
It would have been good to have him back in it if you're going to bring Richards back. Of course, Richards has face value for her TV shows and the fact that her sister is in movies. As a matter of fact, we used to watch that growing up. What was it called? Escape to Witch Mountain? That was her sister. But one thing I thought about is when people see Kyle Richards in this movie, of course they're going to say, okay, yeah, that's Nancy Wallace. But a majority of the new people are going to be like, hey, that's the lady from the cat meme. A lot of people will say that Nancy Stevens didn't fit the timeline, but again, Halloween 2 doesn't exist, and Halloween 1, Loomis is nerfed. I think that she's going to bring a lot of I think she's going to be the one that brings a lot of the storyline to the table, because she's the one that knows, his history. And I hope they don't give too much backstory on him. Yeah. I don't need to know. We didn't have any backstory in Halloween 1. We had too much in Halloween 2, and then, I don't know. I'm sure she's going to have some Loomis moments, but again, when they showed the scene of the window getting smacked by the hand, that was a flashback nod to Halloween 1.
They should put a wrench in there just to really justify a flashback.
I mean, it was, like I said, I haven't nitpicked it like most people have. I mean, there's some people that are probably still watching it now from last night. We know there's going to be flashbacks. We know we're going to see a young Lonnie as a kid. Yeah. Because we've already seen the pictures, and we've already seen the pictures of the younger Mask. I'm glad we didn't see that, or at least I don't think I saw it in the trailer, but I was kind of looking out for that, and I was like, well, we didn't see any flashbacks. But the cool thing was, when they were talking about, his kills are parts of a path that lead to his childhood home. I'm like, are we going to get to see a Myers house? I'm like, that's kind of cool. There's one actress that they show in the trailer that gets a fluorescent bulb to the neck. I actually like her. She was in the Borat movie as his,
okay.
But, nice. I feel like they showed all the kills.
I want to make sure that I bring this up while we're doing this now. You and I have discussed in the past about doing something very similar to what we're doing right here. I know sometimes automatically we think, has this gone on way too long or whatever? Maybe we should, ask the viewers, would they like us to do something like this in the future? Okay. Your thoughts on this, Chris? I wanted to make sure I said that before we got off of here,
Yeah, we've talked about it before. No, I agree. Especially when you have a topic, and we definitely had a topic today.
I've watched the trailer twice now, and I'm going to try not to watch it anymore, because it's quite obvious. In this second one, Michael is pissed off. He's no doubt, there's more kills in it, hence Halloween Kills. He's extremely violent. And the people themselves are seriously pissed off.
Okay.
So I want a soundtrack that's going to be balls to the wall. I want to hear something that's going to... I don't want the cheap cat being thrown through the window scare, but I want... If Michael's pissed off and he's going to go through the fire department team, which I've started thinking, you know what? In 2001, everybody had a lot of love and appreciation and respect for the firefighters. Is this okay to do this in this film right now?
Well, if you think about it, for a small town like Haddonfield is supposed to be, I think they shot this in North Carolina or Wilmington.
Yeah.
For that small town, that's all of the firemen.
Yeah.
There's no backup. So
But it's a
I know
movie.
you have volunteer fire departments, and there's another. But I mean, for a typical small town, you wouldn't expect there to be too many firemen.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I think they showed way too much of that particular scene. We, the fans, we knew that Michael, from the trailers that we've seen before, the teasers, we knew that Michael obviously got out of the house. We knew he was going to anyways if there was going to be a second or a third. And just from that image alone where he's standing on the porch, and at one point one teaser, I remember seeing people like, well, what is that in his hand? What has he got? You know, didn't quite know. I mean, yeah, they're going to have to do something in this trailer because it's getting close to kickoff time, I guess you could say, for the film to start here in 4 months. But I didn't want to see too much. I think instead of having a 2-minute trailer, take a minute of that shit out. That way we don't see everything. But I know there's going to be others out there like, no. Look, we all, like you said, we agree that everybody has a right to their own opinion, your own thoughts. I want to go to the movie theater and watch the hour and 40 minutes, whatever long it's supposed to be, and not be, like you said, the closet scene from 2018. When I went there, and granted, I'm going to enjoy a Halloween film more now than ever because of my son, just like I'm sure you with your daughter. If you're sitting next to her, if she's not too frightened, you're just going to enjoy the experience because you're sharing it with your daughter. That's the same thing with my son. So when I go sit in the theater with him, I already know I'm going to have a blast. I know I'm not going to experience like I did the very first time when I was 8 years old, but I've gotten over that, you know. But
I think I don't know if I'll take her to this one just because the violence level has changed.
Yeah, well, that's understandable.
I only got to go see Halloween in it was a drive-in. It was a drive-in theater in Alabama. I only got to go because my uncle said, "Oh, there's no blood in it." So my mom said, "Okay, well then you can go."
Yeah, that's
cool. But there was boots in it.
Yeah, the way you know, I should stop and think myself. Your daughter is much younger than my son, but someday, and it won't be that much longer. I hate to say it, she's going to be older, just like that. You know, you'll be able to.
Well, I'll go see it first, and then I'll decide if I'm going to take her because she's I don't know. I don't think I can get any lower than about 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, when Me, Myself, and Irene came out. I took my then 3-year-old daughter or 4-year-old. She was about 3 or 4 at the time. I took her to a theater, and at the end of the movie, when I was walking out, everybody stared at me like, "You're a terrible dad." It's like, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't expect it because that movie is raunchy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I may let her see it. She seen the 2018 one.
She survived 2020.
Of course, she got the chance to meet. Well, she got the chance to meet Sandy many times.
Yeah.
And then the first time I ran into Sandy when she started coming back to conventions, I got nervous because I think we all were nervous. And I just walked up to her and I said, "You're the first pair of boobs I ever saw." And then her husband, which I didn't know at the time, but his name's Dan, her husband behind him just started laughing. And then my wife walked up and she goes, "What's going on over here?" And I'm like, "Nothing, let's go." And then that hit off a pretty good friendship with me and Sandy. And Sandy and my daughter. But she'll watch it. I'm sure she'll watch it. I just don't know. I'll have to see the theater first before I decide.
That's understandable. It's funny, if I ever had a chance to meet, and I don't know the actress's name for the life of me, but you saying that, or I remember my first time was Animal House. And I remember me and my cousin, we were sneaking into his parents' room because they had the box where we could watch HBO. And that's, we seen it, and I remember like jumping up and down the bed all excited, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe what I just seen." Oh man, the good old days.
I don't know. I was so embarrassed because I said that, and she laughed. Her husband laughed, and when Jenna heard what I said, she laughed. She goes, "Yeah, I figured you'd say something like that to her."
Well, let's face it.
She's a doll. She's a sweet lady.
Yeah, I mean, bravo. Every guy, I don't care, at that age was very much like, whoa.
Yeah. I haven't met PJ Souls yet, but I'm sure I'll say something.
That would be,
to the same effect.
I'd love to, just her personality alone. She just seems like she's awesome. Period. Fun to be around.
Mm-hmm.
back to the and obviously one more thing about I should say about like the house itself being on fire is him going after the firefighters. My only rant about that, and this is from a perspective of someone who loves to create videos, and I like to do whatever I can with my own two eyes, or what I can do in this house. The one thing, like I said, this is just my rant, and just from my perspective of creating, I was like, really? Well, after watching it twice, when Michael is obviously taking steps down from the porch, and you've got him straight center screen, and the fire, I'm like, that image of him coming down the steps is like frustrating for me, because it's like, in other words, if I had higher ceilings in this house, to where I had a studio where the ceilings were at least 20 feet high, to where I could do better lighting, I know for a fact that any green screen that I do would be even better, because I'm so picky about that. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, that's amateur shit right there. I just, if you decide to watch it again, you could see this CGI green screen that's so obvious. I mean, look, I understand you gotta put
the shark in Sharknado.
Yeah, I mean, I want the actors, of course, to be safe as hell. I don't want them on fire. I mean, Dick Warlock, Lord knows he'd probably say, hell, I'll do it. You know, I want everybody to be safe. Of course, I don't want any harm to come to any of them. But there's just, okay, let's put it this way. There are enough LUTs out there today that you could get for free when you're doing editing, when you're trying to color code, to make that look a little bit more natural, especially with the money that is spent on that film. Like I said, this is just my rant, my creative eye that loves to make this stuff, where I was like, why am I bothered by this? There's a reason, because it's like, come on, man. Like I said, I hope when I go to the theater, I don't notice it. Or I didn't say that yet, but that's what I'm hoping, that I don't notice it, because I hate when I see stuff like that.
Yeah, overall, I think, excuse me, I was more pleased with this trailer than the first one. I mean, because it's like, okay, you're showing the jump scares. You never show a jump scare in a trailer. You could show someone dying, or someone finding a body, or the kids on the carousel.
Yeah.
You don't show a jump scare. So I don't know. We were expecting it. We knew it was going to happen. We knew she died. So, but in this cast, it seems like everybody dies, which makes sense for the title of the movie. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm glad we got a trailer. I leave for Mexico next week, and I'm glad we got to see it before we left. And then there's one other thing that was in my mind this morning when we talked. Well, we now know I don't think the deputy's coming back, because he got ran over.
Isn't Sheriff Brackett supposed to be back in this? The original?
Brackett's in it as a hospital security guard, apparently.
Okay.
But I don't know if we're going to hear more of the story as far as what he went through after his daughter died, because you know the Halloween 2 scene didn't exist. So it's going to go straight from...
Nick Castle is credited in this as well. I don't know if it's because he's doing the voiceover as the breathing, like he did in 2. I don't know. I don't know.
It'll be good. Or, as long as...
I don't... James G. He's great, period. But I naturally, just because I'm always a Nick Castle fan, I just hope... Even if it's just a split second or whatever again, I don't care. Just
Courtney did say that at the last convention before we went into shutdown, and actually my wife got him talking to her about it, because she's a nurse. But, I asked a question, and I was told, well, I can't really discuss too much about that. And then she would go, well, I heard it's in the hospital. Can you tell me about this? And then two were just like, well, not that he was telling her anything that voided his non-disclosure agreement, but he just said they used a lot of real-life medical advisors for the hospital's needs. So, but we all know it's in the hospital. So.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, and from just watching that trailer alone, I mean, like I said, we all know it's going to be in a hospital. So naturally, you're going to have people like, okay, a lot of people felt that 2018, it had that same original, like they're kind of going back doing what they did in the original. Mm-hmm. I could see why you say it. This one right here, I could see, oh great, Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, it was obviously in the hospital. Well, okay, now let's think about for right now at the end of 2018, naturally, Laurie Strode is going to have to go to the hospital. They're not going to drop her off at a convenience store and say, hey, do you have any Band-Aids around to patch her up? So yeah, there's going to be a hospital scene, but it looks like there's something about this film already that is original. You know, it's going off in its own atmosphere. Granted, yeah, we see the cameos of Season of the Witch, like you mentioned in Halloween 4, I believe, was it, where you got the town that's going to get the revenge on, go after Michael himself.
This hospital seems more believable because, Halloween 2, which I love Halloween 2. There were no patients.
Yeah,
and
the lights are on.
And there were no patients. It was empty.
Yeah,
I mean, the babies were the only patients.
I'm always torn. It's like Halloween 2, it's all dark in the hospital.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I tell myself, I like that darkness because it gives off that creepy vibe that still waves off to the original tone of how it was shot in the original one. But I'm always battling with that one on the lighting.
Yeah, as long as we're not getting Rob Zombie Halloween 2 hospital scenes, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, because, oh God, could you imagine we get to the end and it was Jamie waking up from dreaming all that? I got to go after Michael, and then you see what we see in that trailer where she's walking in the opposite direction of everybody else with the knife. And that I think right there, people are, oh, you know what, I better not talk about that too loud, because if I'm right, oh dear Lord. I'm so thankful that they did not show us anything about the flashbacks of 78.
Yep.
We did not discuss it in our, opinions so far of how we felt, our thoughts on this trailer. What are your actual thoughts about that?
As far as the flashbacks?
Flashbacks not being shown in this trailer?
Yeah.
Or you know what? However you think about this.
I mean, we all know we're going to see them. We've all seen the side profile of the 78 Christopher Nelson mask, and it looks good. I've seen people do a side-by-side of the closet scene and the outdoor scene where Christopher Nelson's kind of tucking the neck or adjusting the mask or collar, and it looks legit. I'm going to assume that it's one of those clean masks he was using for the 2018 release, or something similar to it, but if not, I won't be upset. I personally, this is just my opinion, I'll get yelled at. H1, H2 was the same mask, which I've always wondered, and you'd think I know as much as I follow this franchise. We had 3, and then all of a sudden we're down to 1. It's like, where did they go? And then I just jump ahead to, I'm a fan of Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 clean mask. I know people don't probably agree with me. But then seeing that clean mask on the table when Christopher Nelson on the bonus features for the Blu-ray 4K, that looked good. I'd be totally happy if that was one of the ones he used. But then again, if he went back to the studio and tried to make him look more Kirk, I guess, how do you say it? Make him more Kirk? Yeah. Make him look more like coming out of the doorway at the end of the movie before the big megastar Tony Moran took it off. Something like that would be kind of cool. Just to have that kind of side droop.
The real Michael Myers. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Kirk mask has it's because of the cheekbones, but it's kind of like my GK White. It's kind of got that little minimal head tilt when his head's upright. So they do something like that, but I don't know. As far as flashbacks, though, I'm very interested to see how much of a role that's going to be. I'm glad we didn't see him in the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm thinking because she's still alive that Nancy Stevens is going to possibly have a small role in that one because they have her to do voiceover, or even be a character. I hope they don't go and CGI her to make her look 40 years younger, because she still looks good for her age. I mean, it wouldn't take but a little bit of makeup, and she's got the same hair. I'm just trying to figure out because it all goes back to the whole thing about his timeline or his murders that he is doing now leads him up to his childhood home, and I'm wondering if that's where they're going to throw in the flashback is when they finally realize that's where he's going with his murders.
Yeah. I think the lazy way of doing it, and this is the lazy way, and this is something's popped in my head a couple times. If they had the flashback in the very beginning, because it seems to me that's what they usually do in a lot of certain films, whether it's horror or not, or action. You know, I mean, in other words, how many times do we have to see Bruce Wayne's parents get killed? You know what I mean? It seems like every time there's something that related to Batman, we have to see, Bruce Wayne's mom and dad getting killed in the alleyway or whatever. And it's like, okay, I know already. I don't know why I went there, but it just seems like that happens a lot. Just like like I said, the lazy way is in the beginning of the film, we'll do the flashback. I just for what you just described, I've never thought of it that way, and honestly, that would be awesome. But as they showed that map right there, Haddonfield, and as the guy, he kind of looked like Brandon Crowe for a moment, the actor. Yeah. But anyways, the Brandon Crowe of today. But as you described that, I never really put it in that perspective. Like, that would be kind of cool to have that flashback around then, since it's obvious. It seems to me that we are going to see the concept of the original Myers house, but then again, everything else has been updated, unless the neighborhood per se is still torn down. Like you and I were discussing here recently, that video that I shared about the woman who's in prison, who I went to school with, that was responsible for taking away her daughter's life. That neighborhood hasn't changed in 25 years, and it hasn't changed prior to that. So it is possible that if they do go down where Myers original, obviously they could recreate. I mean, that was, like I've said, the only thing decent about Halloween Resurrection is at least Rick, he had enough respect for the fans. Like, stop trying to make these Myers house look nothing like it was in the original one.
Well, you figure with them, they were filming in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is on the water.
Yeah.
They could easily get on I-40 and drive to I-85 and go down to the actual Myers house replica and use that one. Did they use that house? I know the owner can't. He hasn't mentioned anything to us or any spoilers, or maybe it's just if they did use it and there's an NDA involved, wouldn't surprise me. But I'd love for that to be used in this movie. Just from being there, it felt eerie, and his house plans are to the T, minus the extended kitchen in the back, because of course you're gonna have a big kitchen. If you're gonna do a house, you just bumped out the back room. Yeah. But the front two rooms, the staircase, even the newel post and all that, and the railings are all identical to the movie. And then, like I said, the only difference is you go into the kitchen on his house, and he bumped it back about, I think, 10 feet or 12 feet, just to have a bigger kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to live in it,
and I'm sure people know about it. Oops, sorry, I bumped my camera.
That's fine.
But if they somehow went there and used that house, I mean, it'd be perfect, mainly because, A, it's in the middle of nowhere. His nearest neighbor is about 300 yards away. He's in the middle of just a forest, and it's cleared out to where he's even got the sidewalk mimicked in the front of his house. I mean, you could stand in front of his house with the same shot that you did in Halloween '78 and get the same effect. So, I mean, if that's not really an Easter egg, but if we find out that was used in the flashback, I would be ecstatic.
When you were describing the mask, obviously, for the flashback, I don't know for sure if this was a fan-made trailer on YouTube, because there looked like, I don't know for sure, because at one point, last year, knowing that this would come out, I was trying my best to avoid watching a lot of trailers, because as we all know, there's a lot of fan-made trailers for a lot of stuff, whether it's a television series. Like, is there going to be a reunion of The Office? There was all these fake trailers that piss people. And I know the same thing when it comes to, in this case, the Halloween franchise. And that I don't want to see too much of it, because we've already discussed this earlier. But this one, I don't know if it's a fan-made trailer. It could be legit teaser, where they obviously have Donald Pleasant's a CGI, or it looks like they took something from the original, or maybe it's hard to say. It's obviously a voiceover, and then they show an image of Michael where it's supposed to be a flashback of '78, and it looked like to me, and I only watched it once. I didn't want to, but it was like, one of these sort of things. Like, why? Why am I doing this? But it looked like the damn Tots '78. It was so bright and shiny, and I was like, that's what made me think this can't be real. Because why does this mask look like it when you get it, when they ship it out to you, when you take it out of the plastic bag? It's just too. It looks like a brand new sneaker, I guess is the best way. It's too white. It's too.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I don't know if that's the one you're talking about.
Man, you're talking as far as the clean 2018 mask?
This was a trailer that I had watched on YouTube. In other words, I don't know if it's a fan-made one or if it's a legit one. Like I said, I only watched it once, but I watched it from my protesting voice inside my head going, no, don't watch it, but I did anyways. But I kind of watched it like, from afar. But from my poor eyesight like that, I don't know if that was real or not.
I mean, I'm okay with the Tot '78, but
I don't want it to be. I don't want it brand new looking. Does that make? You know what I mean? It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be have. Because let's face it, even in '78, it was guerrilla. It was grunge. It was the mask. Everybody. It was the Holy Grail mask, for Pete's sake. It wasn't like what I seen in that trailer. Too bright and clean.
That too, and of course everybody was holding it, kept passing around between Tommy.
I'm just from what we obviously were watching on the big screen. It has it's the Holy Grail of all as we all know. That's the one. But then when they try to, like I said, it could have been like one of those things like you're not sure if you see something from your peripheral vision or not, or you had your day. It could have been just me that watched it, that seen it that way, where it looked. That's too obviously a '78, or that's a Tots. That's just like boom, clear as day. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll have to watch the movie for it to help me realize.
Unless they modified like a Tramer, because I'm a bigger fan of the Tramer mask than I am of the Tot '78. The one thing I will say about the one behind me is I've been known to give away masks. I know it's crazy, but prime example, when I was at the Myers house in North Carolina, the owner had told me that in a year or two previous, when he had actually opened up his house for tours, his house is a museum. I will tell you this: inside his house is a museum of just everything horror. I mean, just his guest bathroom is wall-to-wall horror VHS tapes and DVDs. But you just go in there and you just stare in wonder and amazement. He's got the Japanese subway poster of Halloween and all this stuff. It's beautiful. Anyway, so he said that he stopped doing house tours because somebody came into his house and he had a prop H2 mask on his rail at the bottom of the staircase. Somebody walked out with it, stole it. I felt kind of bad. I told Rick, who makes the mask behind me, he said, "Hey, look, you made me. I think it was a DIY at the time." He said, "I feel kind of bad for Kenny. He's been a gracious host. We're down here for a couple of days. I'm gonna give him your mask you gave me. Can you go ahead and put me down for another one to replace it?" So he did. Yeah. And because I did it to kind of ease the burden of Kenny just getting, because somebody wants to be robbed or get stolen. But the cool thing about that, Rick, was not only did Rick replace it for the one I gave Kenny, and we did an actual presentation. Sandy Johnson was there. She was doing autographs. They were showing the movie, and I ended up giving to Kenny from Sandy. Was there, and just say, "Hey, let's take our appreciation." And then he took it down to the bag, and he was just ecstatic because the H2 mask he got it wasn't what we're used to seeing. It was just the H2. I'm not sure. It was maybe a converted universal one that they sell in Spirit, but it wasn't much of anything. He didn't have it in the glass case, or it was a manufactured mask that had been touched.
Yeah.
But when he got I think that was his first Indy, you know, and of course, you know, these things aren't like, you know, $10.
Well,
But he was taken back, and then Rick had me another one within like I want to say a month.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just it was amazing. But that was because you know, the scenario, the situation, because you know, you don't want to have the Myers house and have a shoddy Myers mask in your house. So he was like, "This is legit."
Yeah.
I said, "It's an Indy mask."
Well, I'm actually waiting on. I don't have any more 2018s. I'm actually waiting on 2 of them being shipped to me right now. Because I got one that somebody, after that video that I did of that 2018 that's shipped out. Somebody wanted me to make them one.
Okay.
And to, you know, like when you're saying it's about a month it took. Now, see, I'm not nearly as busy as the rest of the guys. It doesn't. I mean, everybody has their own way of how they do these, and
Right.
I myself, I try to remember like what the step-by-step process of what I need to do. But you know, I'm never going to charge somebody nearly as much for a TOTS as if it was my own sculpt, my own poles, all the material, the cost alone, and not to mention just the hours that you put into it. You know, you gotta, because some people are like, can't understand why it costs so much. I'm like, well, there you go. The materials and the time you put into it, that stuff's going to add up. It is almost 1:30. Like I said, I know you had some things that you needed to do. Was there anything else that's, you know, that you could think of? Because I know I'm always guilty of something like this. Like, crap, I forgot to ask or say something.
No. I enjoy watching other people's channels because even though they're going to pick the trailer apart, the same thing happened in 2018. The closer we got to the movie release date, it seemed to just take over the YouTube airwaves and the horror channels and all that. So I actually enjoy those shows and the live shows as well. So I like to get everybody's perspective on it. You know, they're not all going to be the same. You're going to have a lot of people that hate it. You're going to have a lot of people that love it. Like, I can pretty much guarantee you, 99% of the people have watched that trailer and they're not complaining about watching it.
Yeah. You know, and just like what you brought up, you mentioned, and I never thought of, I've already said this before, you know, like the, how did you, like it says in the trailer, like it's basically not a timeline, but it's the victims are all like aligned to his child, the house that he grew up in. And I know I'm butchering up all the way it's actually stated in the trailer. I've only watched it twice. I'm going to try to keep it that way. But like how you described it, you know, maybe that would be kind of like when the flashback will, you know, kind of present itself. I've never really thought of it that way. So yeah, like you said, it'd be interesting to see others or hear their thoughts or watching others, their perspective on it. And now that as we're talking, I just thought of somebody that we didn't see in this trailer, but we know that he was going to be back, is the little boy that was in 2018. I can't remember his name right now, but he was hysterical. Yeah,
he was good to have.
So yeah, I'm glad they didn't show him. You know, what is he going to be doing? You know, I hope he survives in it. You know, it's just there's just something about, you know what I mean? There's not a good vibe when you see a little kid. Granted, even though in 2018 the kid gets killed in that truck, but I don't know.
Well, he's probably, you figure we're 3 years removed from. Well, no, they finished filming way last year.
Yeah.
But he could be like 6 feet tall by now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably getting ready for the NBA soon. Who knows?
I mean, you can't waste any time with kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. There's no doubt about it. I want to be optimistic. I'm not going to go in there because like I said, I do that more now with my son.
I'm going to go see it 3 times in the theater.
Oh, you said 3. Made me think when I was my rant about that visual scene or where I'm seeing too much of an obvious like green screen CGI. Granted, I mean I love making green screen stuff, but I'm an amateur shooting in a bedroom doing that stuff. I'm going to end up repeating myself here on that. But I also thought, ooh, what if this is like a setup for like, you know, like could you have an option to watch Halloween Kills in 3D? because that kind of gives you a 3D perspective too.
True. It
I don't
does.
know. I'm ranting way too much about one little damn scene. That's ridiculous. That's a good thing I'm not working on. That film would have not have been done by now because it's been way too picky. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and shut up because I got to go get my kid and you got to do things with your kid. And yeah, we'll see if people are actually wanting us to do something like this. I mean, this is our first time. Well, it's our second time, technically speaking, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm curious to see. I mean, then again, if they don't want us to do it again and we still want to do it, then we'll do it for our own entertainment.
We do it, yeah.
Eventually, the cool people will catch on, right?
Yep. And next time I'll wear pants.
You know, I will as well too. I
Awesome.
didn't share that until right now. I got on my what I call my layer. No, I'm keeping that to myself. If they really want to know, then they'll have to come watch another video. So what did you think of the latest Halloween Kills trailer? Did you like it or dislike it? Simply share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And would you like to see Chris and I share more videos like what you watched today? You know, two guys sitting around talking about the subjects that we love so dearly. If so, simply type in the comment section 5150. That's 5150. Well, I hope all of you out there are enjoying your summer this year, staying safe and staying clean. Till next time, you take damn good care of yourself. Goodbye.